I'm so excited about this topic that we have today, which is 5D relationships. Seems, I mean, if you really get into the nitty gritty of those terms, it seems almost paradoxical because fifth dimensional experience or unity consciousness, heart consciousness, messianic consciousness, it's existing from a place that's beyond earthly relationships or third dimensional relationships. But then here we are in this earthly experience, so we have, by definition, relationships with everything all around us. We're in an experience of separation. So what seems like a paradox or an anomaly and can bring up all of this contrast is actually like such a beautiful entryway into what's really possible and where the earth is kind of transitioning as a collective. Now, beautiful alder leaf that just fell down from the sky, as I was talking about, where we're transitioning as a collective now to reinvent or just flow with the natural evolution of how relationships and the relationship dynamic is changing and healing on earth. So beautiful, because we really feel like this video is speaking to two camps. On the one hand, the camp of individuals, folks who are on the fifth dimensional consciousness journey, or who are seeking a lived, real, tangible, minute-to-minute experience of heart consciousness, unity consciousness, are on that ascension or that evolutionary path.
Yep.
And so we're speaking there because within that sphere, love and relationship has been probably the single primary biggest catalyst, or like fire under our butts to jump and like amp up that journey and just leaps and bounds land us with such resound into that experience. So speaking to people who are on that path, and then also speaking to people who maybe have nothing in their sphere or even necessarily in their conscious present awareness about fifth dimensional consciousness, heart consciousness, evolution, anything like that, but people who are in a relationship, period, and hurting or confused, triggered. I mean, and who isn't in that place, right? Like that's one of the things about life on earth is relationships are inevitable and relationships are painful. Inevitably. So speaking, no matter where or what side of that line or paradox you find yourself on, Leah and I are hoping to speak from the middle ground, or the world in between there, and just hopefully be able to bring some clarity to both camps and how we can marry these two themes to realize greater sense of well-being in ourselves and for the world as a collective.
I love that. That was a beautiful introduction, beloved. And it's true, because we have just so much shift taking place right now. There are a lot of people really, really struggling within the dynamic of relationship. So I'd just like to take an opportunity to kind of provide just some initial context for discussion. So we're just going to kind of frame it in terms of where we can begin a jumping off point to understand if this could potentially be happening with you and your experience, right? Moving through this shift, and how your relationships might be affected or impacted as a result. We're going to go back to the initial concepts I did in my introductory video to 5D relationships, just giving a reminder about the model that 5D relationship is most interested in. It's not interested in codependency, and it's not interested in being too independent. It's really interested in interdependency. So that is the beautiful married, kind of more healthy, in union middle way between codependency and independent. So we're not like, I don't have purpose if I don't have my other. And with a lot of codependency, it really expresses as, I'm just going to do for others so much and overgive that I'm just leaving myself out of the equation, out of fear of not being enough for love or losing love. And independence is on the complete opposite side of that. It's closed off because it's been hurt and it's scared of love, and it doesn't want to open to love again for fear of losing love. So the first thing that you know where you're experiencing a shift to 5D relationships or to that dynamic is you're done with those patterns in some way, shape, or form. You've already been in them. You're done with the toxic, negative things that come along with codependency. And you're also done with being too independent and being too guarded and feeling like you can't have love in your life or that love is not possible for you in your life. And it's the same thing with codependency. Will there be a change, or do I have to consistently attract these type of relationships where I don't have a sense of self, right? Or with the independent, I'm scared to give up this sense of self in order to be with somebody else. So the interdependent model really seeks to find a best of both worlds scenario to where you're no longer in fear of love in both of those dynamics, fear of losing love. You are then moved from an understanding and perception and realization that there is lack in love to I have love within my true self. So the process of ascension and union is helping you with that understanding to realize there's no lack. There's no lack in love. It exists in abundance within me. And this is a process of coming to union within you. And then as a result, you're able to experience that with another. So it's that interdependent model. There's space for me and my true self connected to myself in love and in divine relationship with my true self. And I have the opportunity to experience that with another. So that's the initial context for this video and kind of where we're coming from and speaking from maybe personal experience about what that was for us in what we experienced with the shift.
Thank you for that. How the interdependent model, or you have two wholes in union coming together to co-create from a whole place. That's not that's not what's modeled to us as far as the presiding relationship dynamics in society at large, at least in our present cultures and time. So it's understandable to feel really terrible about things that appear to be happening to your relationships because what we're programmed or what we're conditioned, what society tells us we should be experiencing or seeking out or having in a relationship is not necessarily a healed model or operating from a healed place.
Truth.
And so recognizing that insanity exists outside of you, like give yourself some peace and respite and realizing like, no, you have the connection to your sense of well-being and your sense of wholeness in you that no model or no programming or anything can tell you that like, you do or do not have. And from that place, like once you've really rebuilt that or become solid in that, then you're able to step out and be a co-creator in bringing to life your own model that is perfectly in line with your truth and is from a healed place just naturally going to tend to being more in balance and in unity with the greater work and the greater evolutionary shifts towards lighter, more peaceful, unified consciousness collectively that we're moving into as a world. So recognizing that piece that on both camps, like if you're really augured into like the third dimensional relationship and you're trying to make that work, but it's like not working or it's not fitting with what you're feeling versus what you're experiencing, that's an invitation to realize that your wholeness or what your truth is pointing to something more than what that model is offering you. And likewise, if you're in the camp where you're seeking spiritual realization, wholeness, or seeking to ground and manifest unity, ascended consciousness in your own timeline, then that requires, by definition, a relationship to the earth, a relationship to either people on the earth, energies. You can the list goes on. Relationships are kind of what we build everything in a third dimensional timeline, which is an experience of separation, me and another, a relationship between yourself and another, that part has to be, it can't be pushed aside, or you can't go find nirvana on a mountaintop, living in unity, heart consciousness, and be on earth and truly be in balance or in service. So then, again, from both polarities, pushing us back to this meeting point of 5D relationships, the title and theme of this video, which is where you're able to be in relationships from a whole, healed, heart-centered, unified place. So putting that out there about with these models, these three models, where you have interdependent as being the middle way between unity and separation, and then you find interdependency as being a marriage of heaven and earth. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love what you said. And that's the whole point. The key point is I don't have to be in separation anymore. Right? It's like,
oh yeah.
Whoa. Like
I can be in the body or the experience of separation, but my mind and my feelings, I'm not feeling separated.
Right.
Even though the external might say I'm separated.
That's right.
I'm plugged in to that greater unity.
That's right. Because so much of the time from the place of separation, we're looking to become whole. We're looking for the external to give that to us, to bring that to us. And that's big in codependency. Can someone else please bring this wholeness, this structure, this healing, this love to me?
Yeah.
And you're leaving yourself out of the accountability and being able to fill your own cup and give that to yourself. And this is not necessarily, what most people want to hear either, right? Like it's not easy, and it's not this happily ever after. I'm crushing most romantic fairy tales right now, because that's the way that we're taught, is that somebody's just going to come in and make it all better and fix it in terms of our hurt, our pain, our wounding, our states of separation. And then when that doesn't happen, you still have hope. That's a waiting energy, a hope that will eventually take place. And then when it doesn't, then we get resentful, right? Then we get guarded. Then we don't trust love. But the root of that is it's a failure to trust our true selves. It's a failure to love our true selves, and it's a failure to choose ourselves, right? So that's what, when you're finding yourself within the midst of this shift, these are the things that are going to come up. And when you're moving from these disserving models in separation, whatever the label may be, to something more balanced and whole, you better believe your other's going to bring it up. Your other's going to show you. They're going to mirror that to you. So if you're having someone mirror these things and actually they're causing so much pain and hurt initially in your experience, that's what it is. That is the mechanism by which you are being activated or initiated into the wholeness and union with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. It is an initiation. Any relationship is an initiation. A lot of people aren't consciously able to take advantage of the growth opportunities that are presented in relationships. But nonetheless, every relationship is an initiation or an invitation to one, by reflecting those parts of you that are unhealed or not at peace. And other people are going to put that mask on and be that for you, trigger that for you, and initiate you into the possibility of greater wholeness and peace. But that way is always through pain. It's always through coming into greater compassion, acceptance, and connection to your pain and your unhealed parts of yourselves.
Yes.
Holding that, walking through the pain with that, and coming out into another place where you realize there is wholeness and there is healing. So moving out of these states of disempowerment where we're in a relationship, or maybe even more insane, running from relationship to relationship one after another, trying to find something or look for an external peace that's going to bring us well-being and wholeness, rather than seeing that we are whole, and then with every external trigger that tries to convince us otherwise, we can hold faith and we can hold peace that we are connected to wholeness, and that on the other side of the pain, on the other side of the trigger, on the other side of this discomfort of whatever part of me is still needing to be healed, wholeness is there again, and wholeness has in fact always been there. So we can just continually step back to that place and allow love or connection or relationship as an initiation to be a mirror that's going to every time push that button right where you don't want to be pushed, or right where you haven't yet looked. So arriving at a place ultimately, or even if not at a place, arriving at a faith of belief or perspective where your relationship, no matter what it looks like, no matter what you're going through or what's happening external, is actually a blessing, and there's nothing wrong, but it's bringing things up in you that, however uncomfortable, if you follow those back, are actually taking you to the place of biggest release and wholeness and healing. So in this way, every relationship, no matter where you are in it, is the perfect relationship for where you find yourself, if you're willing to shift your perspective so that it's not you're not a victim within it, or you're not seeking something outside of yourself, but you're sovereign in what you already have within, and you're able to utilize consciously the experience of separation from outside of you in order to build and to solidify and strengthen that experience of unity in yourself. And you can learn the feelings start to become more stable in that sense of self connection and unity. And from that place, you're able to, as Leah was talking about, enter into a place of greater interdependency, and that's where true union, or two unified wholes, can start to come together.
Yeah, beautiful. I love what Ian just touched on here, just regarding the triggering and what the triggering brings up. We're programmed in the 3D in terms of the old relationship paradigm to shut down when things hurt, to run away from the pain. That's classic. And if you've had your feel of the 3D relationship paradigm, you realize that no matter where you go, the grass is always greener, but you find yourself in the same situation, right? It's the same it's like a different person, but it's the same stuff, the same energy. Why does this keep happening to me, right? And it's coming to a place that we understand in 5D that our relationships, we can approach them from a conscious perspective, that we can actually hold consciousness in our relationships and allow them to be the teachers that they are. They're the primary teachers here on earth. So we can actually utilize that as a predominant tool on any journey related to the spiritual or awakening or ascension. Doesn't matter how high you go. If you can't apply a conscious perspective to your relationship, if you can't be in relationship with other, it's a reflection of a difficulty to be in relationship with you. So all the triggers are doing is they're showing what has yet to be healed and connected within yourself. And instead of running away from that, instead of being afraid of that or shutting down, no, we're going to open this up. We're going to understand our original point of disconnection and where the pain actually started. For most, it's childhood. Who hurt you? Who wasn't there for you? Who didn't show up for you? Who didn't give you what you wanted? It's really, it is that. But we don't voice that. We're not truthful about that. We rather just bury it. But then the subconscious and within the egoic mind, we're still looking again for somebody to make up for that hurt that we experience. So your connection, or whoever you are moving in relationship with, that's where the shift is taking place, they're going to bring that up. In fact, it's one of the first things that they're supposed to be doing. One of my other stories that I talked about, my soul connection journey with Ian, one of the first things that he did after he told me, like, that he said he loved me, and we had this phenomenal, beautiful date with each other, very spur of the moment. He said, I'm always going to come after you, or...
Yeah, you said I'll see you again,
Uh-huh.
and I said, you better believe it, I'll hunt you down.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling all these feelings. I'm excited. It's like delighting. It's new. So, we typically have the expectations, okay, when am I going to see this person again? Where is this going to go? Right? Are we going to go here? Like, the mind starts to just kind of run rampant with what it's expecting or what it's wanting. What Ian gave me was a love letter talking about how he fell in love with somebody else. And he started a relationship with somebody else right when we kind of had that deeper connection and we were connecting. And that brought up so much in me regarding anger and hurt and pain. Again, his choosing someone else was a direct mirror and showing to me the need for me to finally choose me. And it would take him choosing more people over me for me to get it. So it's just like, these are the things. That's a tangible, practical example within these type of dynamics of how this can play out. But we don't run from that. We don't really write that person off. See, that's easy to do. Write somebody off, say, oh, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm just going to go with somebody else. Instead, I said, I love this man so much. I'm going to do this work. And everything that he brings up in me and continues to bring up in me, I am going to have the spiritual maturity to look at it, and I'm going to process it, and I'm going to connect to my hurt and my pain so that I can actually become empowered in that and not live from that. I don't have to live in that, but I can acknowledge, yes, this is my hurt, this is my pain. I love myself in this hurt and pain, which is something else that we don't really do in the 3D.
My side of this is Leah and I again shared beautiful connective experience, but the relationship glasses that I was wearing at the time when Leah and I met each other and realized we had this deep love and connection, it didn't compute with what I was able to see through my conditioning glasses versus what Leah was radiating this love to me. I was feeling love for Leah, but there was like big disconnection there, and I couldn't believe it. Or when that kind of love, through Leah expressed itself to me in the ways that she was acting and coming on to me, I couldn't handle it because it felt like it felt insane, or it felt like it can't possibly be real. I can't trust it. So what do? I go and I look for love or connection, intimacy with somebody who fits, with like the glasses that fit. But then what I'm looking for in that person, it is, there's a relationship there, but as far as the love that Leah is offering me and for the reasons that she's offering it for me versus the reasons that I'm looking for love over here and what I'm trying to build or manipulate in over here, it's total insanity. And it took again, like Leah, it took me realizing, like, no, there's something here that's not working, and I'm done trying to look at this in this other place. And I know that whatever Leah and I have, it needs to be looked at first or primarily in order to resolve these patterns that keep repeating themselves. I'm like, there's something different about this one. Even though I didn't understand it, it's like going through all the other ones, there's like the same energies working through, but there's something different here that doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute. It seems, and it keeps you coming back. So to accept that initiation, that's the connection journey that for us has been, well, wild and also foundational to the journey into our fuller, higher realization of our fifth dimensional heart consciousness selves that are continuing to be born and walk this timeline.
Thank you, my love. And just to loop it around for anyone out there that might be experiencing the same thing in their relationship in terms of what you just explained, what was it that made you begin to trust love? Or what was it that began to allow yourself to open to love being real for you?
I think you come to a place where you realize that love doesn't exist outside anywhere, and you always hear this, you know. The big joke is that all these fairy tales that model these perfect 3D relationships, they all say the same. They say the right things. Follow your heart. Love is within. Trust yourself. They all say that, but then they put in Prince Charming as like a red herring. It's like, oh, and then it's gonna walk out of the woods and look just like this. So, trusting that, not to trust what your eyes are seeing or what your mind is saying, but to trust the feelings of love and connection that is always accessible within. That is not something that happens fast, and it takes time. So I think that just trusting that and being willing to show up for that work and being able to be with those painful parts as they heal, and you realize the love that's existing internally all the time and is not contingent on anything outside. You just start to care less about what the outside looks like or what you think it should look like. And yeah, just trust more the feelings.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm glad you trusted.
Me too.
And allowed love in. But essentially, we've had to take accountability for our own path and our own growth and follow our intuitive compass and just ride those waves and those roller coasters up and down for going on 4 years now.
And
Yes.
that's an essential point in that everybody's on their own track.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's really like you will be dished up the exact perfect universal medicine for you.
Yeah.
Probably right now in the relationship or the absence of a relationship that you find yourself in.
Yep.
That is even now mirroring something that you, by consciously looking at, can initiate yourself into the next step and the next step. So yeah, we speak from self-taught in that we have arrived to this place through our own journey, just as you are arriving to your perfect place on your journey.
Yes,
So,
begin to point more toward that inner relationship instead of the consistent focus and trying to control and manipulate the external. And once you're doing that, you're well on your way. Thank you. Beautiful. We look forward to our next discussion on 5D relationships. And until next time, all praise and all love.
all praise. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.